I'm going to start by introducing my co-host, my guest here, Jeannie, live from Delaware, right?
Yes.
She is the creator and founder of yourcolorguru.com, which I found. I don't even know how I found you. I think it was a Google search.
Wow.
I told you when we were speaking earlier that people have always told me, oh, Beth, you should learn color analysis. It's such an, because it is such an important component of what I do. And I know a little bit about it, but I just, it's not really an area of strong interest for me. So I was thinking, I need to find somebody who does this. So I was Googling, came across your website, and immediately I was like, this is my girl. I just love your website. And I just love your approach. So I contacted Jeannie and she said she did my colors for me, and the rest is history. So she's now, my color guru too. And I know a lot of you who are watching now or on the replay, a lot of you have used Jeannie's services and have questions and have had unbelievable, changes in the way you dress and the colors you choose and the way you clean your closet out. And it's been tremendous, Jeannie. It really has. So I wanted just to welcome you and ask you a little bit about yourself and how this all started.
Okay. Well, I'm so happy to be here. And like you said, I live in Delaware. I've got two little girls. They're 5 and 8. And this color guru all started when basically my aunt told me I was wearing all the wrong colors. So I was not.
Everyone has that aunt, don't they?
I know everyone has that aunt, but I was not always the color guru. In fact, at one point I was wearing apparently all the wrong colors. But this was what I noticed was this was the aunt who always looked really good at family gatherings. So I couldn't necessarily argue with her because I was like, geez, she always looks good. And so we started looking for somebody to do my colors. She's like, I'm going to give it to you as a gift, and we're gonna do this. Now this was 15 years ago at
Oh, okay.
this point,
She
and
was your cool aunt.
she was a cool aunt, right? She's totally cool. And we finally found somebody who could do my colors, but it was this older woman who was doing them out of her home, and she was retired, and she was a retired image consultant.
Okay.
And she was doing it out of her home, just occasionally. And so I went to her house and she gave me a color palette. Um, and despite the fact that I felt like a lot of the colors on the color palette were dated, it was still transformative, right? So I saw the result of it. I saw how much better I looked in this new color palette that she gave me. But the issue I had with it was some of the colors felt really dated to me and I couldn't find them in stores.
Interesting.
And so what happened over the next year was I started to look so much better in my clothes, feel so much better in my clothes. And my friends were saying, what are you doing? And then I took 7 people over the course of the next year to this retired woman's house. I was like just bringing her people.
Interesting.
And it just kind of stuck with me. Like there's obviously a desire for this service. And yet I'm in the Philadelphia. I mean, I live in Delaware, but I'm right outside of Philadelphia. I'm like
Okay.
20 minutes from Philly.
Oh,
So I'm in a major city and I can't find anybody offering this service. And it kind of stuck in the back of my mind. I had a different career at that time. But it stuck in the back of my mind, man, if I ever start a business, I'm gonna start that color business, right?
interesting. Let me ask you,
Yeah.
was she Color Me Beautiful? Because a lot of us are from that
Yes.
Color Me Beautiful. Was that her?
She was Color Me Beautiful. Yes. That's
Oh,
how she had done her original training. And then
interesting.
she had worked as an image consultant, had a very big business as an image consultant. And I actually ended up years later asking her if she could, if she could train me, because I know she had also done some trainings for Color Me Beautiful, and she couldn't. She was out of at that point, and they weren't really training in a formal way anymore at that point. Um, so basically, I then 5 years ago now, 6 years almost, dug in on my own and just researched every color analysis system that was out there. I just went into like researcher mode for a solid year. Like I was studied hair color, studied skin tone. I was fascinated. And I mean, I wasn't even planning on building a business at that point. I actually was helping a couple friends. Um, but I just became completely obsessed with the colors. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, like kind of at the end, towards the end of that year, I was like, if I'm going to create a business, I want to create the most, um, accurate and beautiful color palettes that exist for color analysis. And I also, a big part for me was making colors that are really findable in the stores, because that was kind of the one issue that I had found. Like some of these colors just weren't really findable. So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. And
Yeah.
there's parallels with me because when I started my business, it started with just being interested, and I had friends
Yeah.
that would be like, "Oh, Beth, can you take me shopping?" And I didn't have formal training per se, but I
Yeah.
was fascinated, so I just started
Yeah.
to research and learn, and that's how it sort of evolved, and working with
Yeah.
friends and helping them.
Exactly.
So it's
Trial and error.
trial and
Yes.
error, and just having it, because there's nothing like real world experience. You can read as many books as you want and
Exactly.
watch videos, but when you have, a woman in front of you, or a picture of her in front of you, or she's in a dressing room with you or in her closet, that's as educational as it gets, really.
It's so true. I mean, I was doing color parties in person at the beginning, like after that year, and I then created my first set of color palettes, which have been revised since then because they weren't as accurate as they needed to be in the beginning. But I was going to women's houses and doing like colors for 10 people, and just seeing people and looking at them in that way. At this point, I've looked at probably over 5,000 people, like to do, to analyze their colors. And so it's like, just the experience you get from that and just seeing what works and what doesn't, and then seeing new coloring patterns all the time. I mean, there's just an endless array
Right.
because people have like, you start looking at the little flecks in their eyes and like exactly sort of what's going on with their skin tone. It's so interesting to me. Most people kind of assume like, oh, my skin is warm or cool, but then you start to see people who have like a mix of warm and cool. They've got both yellow undertones and pink undertones, and the pink undertones show up more on their face and the yellow shows up more here. And I mean, just totally fascinating. So
See,
I
that's
became
way too
obsessed.
sciencey for me.
I
That's
know.
that's why I said I can't do this myself. It's just
Yeah.
sciencey.
Yeah. It is sort of a science and an art is
Well,
what I think. It's
exactly.
it's
Very
both really.
true. I think it's fantastic, and you're so good at it. I mean, the
Thank you.
transformation we've seen with some of these women, it's just phenomenal. I love it.
I'm so glad.
So maybe can you tell us, sort of in a nutshell, or like what your process is when somebody says,
Yeah.
okay, I want to have, say, the virtual, the not the Zoom one-on-one, but just I
Yeah.
send you my pictures, I fill out the questionnaire. How does that work?
Yeah. So you choose, your package, and then basically you are automatically redirected to a questionnaire and photo upload form. And so you answer some questions for us, which is really important because we need both you to tell us about your coloring, and we need to verify that in your photos. And sometimes if we're seeing something different in your photos from what you're describing, we'll email people and ask for more photos, because we just want to make sure we're getting you a super accurate result. So we ask questions like, what was your hair color as a child? What happens to your skin in the sun? Some people burn, some people tan, some people have no change in their skin in the sun. Um, we ask you to describe your eye color. We ask a bunch of different questions that help us put the puzzle pieces together, and then, sort of verify that with the photos. And then we look at your photos in depth. We have myself, I'm the head consultant, and I also have an assistant now who helps me. And we are the consultation team at this point. And we both, we look at everything, we make our determinations for which palette is going to look best on you. And then we email you the results in 2 business days once you've completed the questionnaire. It was important to us to have a quick turnaround.
Right.
Um, And so, we work really, really quickly to get people their results, because we know that people are anxious to start buying things. And some people always, I hear this all the time. They're like, I'm holding off on my shopping trip, till I get the results. And I'm like,
Right.
okay.
Which is
So,
which is a good idea.
yeah, it
I wish
really
I
is.
wish I had done mine. I had professional photographs taken 2 weeks before I found you before. And at the time, the photographer was great. I had a problem with my hair. I was issue. Anyway, there, I don't love the pictures. And I realized it was the color. A lot of it was the colors, and it was the makeup. The makeup artist
Mm,
that did my makeup, I remember specifically asking her, I said, do you think I have warm or cool coloring? Like, I never really knew. And
yeah.
she was like, oh, you are definitely warm. And I was like, oh, okay. I kind of wish I was cool, but I was warm. And my hair person had put really warm highlights in my hair.
Oh, yeah.
So I had like these warm highlights and this bad lipstick
Yeah.
and this royal blue, dark, what used to be my bright royal blue top for my headshot. And they're just not great. So live and
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm wearing my yellow.
I love that yellow on you. And I love your earrings too.
Oh, these are courtesy of one of our members, Elizabeth. I don't know.
Oh, I
She's
love that.
she found these on Amazon, and I was like, I'm wearing my new color earrings from the Color Guru.
Yes.
Aren't they fabulous?
They're fabulous. And they have so many of your colors in them
They do.
that you could wear them with anything almost.
They do.
I love that.
I had this jacket before I got hot because I couldn't get the video to work. I had a jacket on, and this is my blue, which I was never,
Ah,
but it is just a good color on me.
it's such a good color for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check in on the group because I don't see anyone commenting, which has me a little concerned. Where are you ladies? We are live. I see we are live. I'm talking. Anyway, we're gonna keep going.
Okay.
Because I have questions that people submitted prior to this, and I'm just gonna go through them. If that's
sounds good.
okay. Does that work?
Yeah, sure.
We'll just bang them out here. So Martha asks, I recently had you do her colors, and she's a copper autumn. What are you, by the way, Gina?
So I'm a calm autumn.
Calm autumn. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to hearing her questions. Oh, no, so she doesn't have a specific question. So this person asked about, so let's say, this is a good question. Let's say so the warm colors are the autumns and the springs.
Springs.
Okay. And
yes.
The cool are the summer, which is what I am, and the winter.
Correct.
So is there any crossover? Like, how does that work?
You mean with people's coloring or crossover
so with
colors?
Colors, like with the no colors. For example, this is a question I remember because I kind of had it too. As a summer, camel, like browns are not great. Browns and oranges are not great. So I had two people ask. One person said, I love camel. Can I not wear camel if I'm a summer? Yeah. And the other person asked about coral. If I shouldn't wear orange, can I wear coral? So those kind of distinctions.
Gotcha. Yeah. So both camel and coral are warm. There's something similar to camel. Now it's not true camel, which is a very warm sort of brown with that's light. And but there's something similar on the summer card that is more like in sort of the khaki range. So the thing about summers is they look really great in gray based colors. And so you see at the bottom of the summer card, in fact, I think I have a summer card here.
I have a summer card.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I have a summer card here. And so at the bottom of the summer card, like in the middle of the second to bottom row here, there is a gray based brown. That is as brown as the summers want to go. And you'll see there's also all these, I call these like the pebbles on the beach colors. The ones on the bottom here, they're all sort of these summer neutrals that are all gray based. So you have got gray with a little purple in it. You've got gray with a little brown in it. You've got gray with some green in it, et cetera.
And what's great for me and for other summers, there are a lot of summers, it seems.
Yeah.
A lot of my people are summers, is taupe.
Yes.
Like, taupe is a great neutral.
Great neutral.
I've always kind of gravitated towards because it's Mary, my mother, who lives upstairs. We used to joke like now she wears more real grays, but she was a taupe girl. She's like, I love taupe. What's your favorite color? Taupe. I'm like, as a kid, I was like, what color is taupe? Like,
that is kind of unusual.
Anyway, I do love taupe, and
Yeah.
I love that shade. So
Yeah.
camel's a great color. Does not mean you can't wear, if you have a great pair of camel slacks, does not mean you can't wear
Totally.
a camel slack. And let's say a summer owns a camel, coat that they inherit. It's a gorgeous camel hair coat. They
Yeah.
could wear a scarf, right? They
They
could wear a
could.
scarf in one of their
That's a great way. And I'm so glad you bring up that point because there are ways to work with things that you already have that you love and don't want to part with. So, like wearing a summer colored scarf with a camel coat it's a great example. The other thing is, remembering that your color card, those colors are most important up against your face. And so, I have a lot of people who they keep pants in other shades, pants that they really love. They'll keep pants in shades that aren't on their color card. You get to decide how sort of committed you want to be to
right.
only ever wearing your colors. I mean, some women find it really makes their life easier to just wear their colors all the time, top and bottom, everywhere. And some women want to be a little looser about it, and it's fine either way. This is the most important thing, is up against your face.
And that's what I tell people. I mean,
Yeah.
there will never be the day, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The day would never come that I would tell a woman that she shouldn't ever buy anything black. I mean, I guess,
Yeah.
but like black pants, like how I don't know, it'd be hard for me to go through life without black pants.
I mean, I personally don't have black pants. I will say I
I
don't own black anything.
anything. So you
Nothing. But here's the key. I also don't really like black.
Okay.
I don't like it on me. I'm not really attracted to it. It's just not a color that I was ever excited about. And so if you love black, and it doesn't happen to be in your palette, I think that's a really different story, because I just also don't really like it. And there are some colors on my card that I genuinely don't like either. Like there are probably, and I designed the card. Right. I designed my own card, right?
Well, no accounting for taste, right? I always say like, everyone's allowed to have their own taste. There's no rules.
That's why we gave 35 shades, because there are 5 shades on my card that I know technically look great on me. I just don't like them. I still have 30 colors to choose from that look really great on me. And so for me, that's plenty. And, so
the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have 5. I don't think I have 5. I have a hard time with purple. I've always said to people, I don't like purple. I don't like purple. I don't like purple. But there are certain shades of purple that I do like. And I think I just sort of convinced myself one day that I didn't like purple. Like when I was, when I was a little girl, and there were like the pink girls and the purple girls, every girl, you have daughters, I have sons. But back when I was a girl, like if you were a little girl, you were either, you liked pink or you liked purple. And I was like, I like pink. I like purple. Ridiculous, but I think those silly thoughts are still in my head. So now I'm like giving purple a chance.
Absolutely. I talked to a lot of women who just cut out pink when they were a kid. They're like, that's like the girly color that I was either made to wear or made to feel like I should or whatever. And I encourage a lot of women now. I'm like, take back your pink, take it back, take the, because it's almost like the opposite of what we should be doing, which is hey, saying it's just a color, and if you like it, look at it with new eyes, without that story, right? We do get stories about things, and there's
all kinds of things, including color, about bodies.
Yes. Yes.
And what, somebody told you once, you should never wear, you should only wear boot cut jeans because you're a pear shape. Women have been told that for so many years, and they remember that, and they get very rigid in their thinking. So the same thing happens with colors. A question just came to mind that I know is on my comments here that I can't see without my glasses, and that is going back to the black thing. Like if you're in so which colors are black good for? Winters, right?
So winters wear black incredibly well. Okay. Summers are sort of second in line, but they really look best in charcoal gray, which is the muted version of black. So the thing about summers is they look great in muted colors, right? That lemon yellow you're wearing right now, that I shouldn't even call it lemon yellow. It's a very light pastel. But it's like a light pastel yellow, but but it's that's a muted color, because if you took yellow, like a primary yellow, and added white to it, right, That's what makes it a muted color, adding another color to it. And that has significant white added to it.
It
That's why it
does.
looks so good on you. Whereas like a canary yellow would kind of overpower you, right? We'd be looking at the yellow, not your face so much.
That's something you said that resonated with me. You said that like
Mhm.
about my bright royal blue. It's a
Yeah.
great, I still love it, but
Yeah.
in big doses versus
Yes.
the blue is wearing me versus me, wearing
Exactly.
blue. I guess that's, yeah.
So the same thing happens with black, right? Black is a clear color. And if you're somebody who looks better in muted colors, you're going to look way better in charcoal gray.
Which is a great substitute.
It
Somebody asked
is.
that. I think it was I forget who asked that about black. Should I, but she said, should I only wear charcoal gray? And I mean, if you're buying new things, you're buying a new top and you want a dark neutral, and you
Yeah,
have the choice of black or charcoal gray,
exactly. Yes,
go with the charcoal gray.
totally.
And would you say that that would be the choice for almost everyone? Like, once you hit 50 or so, that
No,
necessarily, no.
no. There are lots of women who, till the day they die, look better in black.
Better in black. I can
Yeah.
think of some myself, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, they look better in black. Has a lot to do with the amount of contrast between your hair, skin, and eye color, actually.
Okay.
That's what it kind of has to do with. So some people have really strong contrast till the day they die. And
Okay.
they're the ones who are going to look better in black. Lower contrast, not as much of a distinction between your hair, skin, and eye color. That's one of the things we look at. Contrast is actually a big deal in color analysis and really getting people into the right palettes. And I think it's been largely ignored in some of the systems. Like some of the systems don't look at that at all. It's huge. The difference between clear colors and muted colors on people, like I look amazing in like a muted sort of olive green, but if you put like emerald green on me, my face disappears. Like it just can't see my eye color anymore. It just totally overpowers me because I'm also a muted. So summers and autumns are muted and winters and springs are clear.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
helpful. So
Yeah.
speaking of when you aging, which is,
Yeah.
we love aging because it makes
Ah, don't we?
right. The alternative, as my mother says.
That's right.
So some women were, did the Color Me Beautiful with their mothers back when they were, girls, younger girls, women, and they were, let's say, the two people I can think of were told or assumed they were warm, clear, and they love like those clear, bright, like fuchsias and purples and
Mhm.
black, and and now they find out that they're actually warm, autumns or summers, right?
Springs and
Spring,
autumns are warm. Yep. Hmm.
and how does that happen? Or was
Yeah.
it that they were told the wrong thing, or did things change?
So things can change, but they typically, there's no rule that sort of always works for this, but they typically don't change from uh, cool to warm. They typically go the other way from warm to cool if they're going to change. So I'll give you myself as an example. I'm actually a perfect example because I'm in autumn now, but I actually have cool skin tone. I have very pinky skin tone, which is considered cool. I have blue eyes. They're kind of a muted blue eyes, both considered cool, right? So I'm a mix of warm and cool. Now, my hair has always had a lot of natural warmth in it, and my hair actually overrides the skin and eyes. Now, that's not always the case. Just because somebody has warm hair doesn't mean they're definitely going to be a warm, but that's where you have to really know what you're doing. So, but here's the thing: if I let my hair go gray, I will turn into a summer. I probably will I definitely will turn into a summer if I let it go gray. So now I'm all cool, right? So people as they age tend to get cooler and lighter. And so the most commonly I see people moving from autumn to summer, sometimes from winter to summer, sometimes from spring to summer. I have seen autumns who are deeper also go to spring. That can happen occasionally. It's not real common. The most common is one of those three types moving to summer. But they have to kind of be on the cusp of warm and cool to begin with. Like warm and cool is that spectrum, right? And I'm kind of towards the middle of the spectrum to begin with. And so I'm going to hop over to the cool side Not the case for everybody. I say about 30% of people, it ends up happening to.
Would you say I'm in the middle too? Because
Yes,
I've
you
been
have warm and cool elements.
yeah.
Yes, yes, and yes, and that's what makes color analysis tricky, right? If everybody was all either really cool or really warm, it'd be really easy to kind of learn the rules and
Right.
go, okay, like they're a cool, they're a warm. Most people are actually in the middle somewhere. They've got warm elements and cool elements. Sometimes even in their skin tone, they can literally have like pink undertones and yellow undertones showing up, you know, and that's, you know, the pink is cool and the yellow is warm. And sometimes you see both in the same person. So that's where it gets where you really need a trained eye to see what is really winning out here, you know, and consider, like, sometimes when somebody's a really tricky case, like I'll literally go through the whole palette in my head and like put their face up against it. And I'm like, no, you know, they are a little too muted for like the sort of winter jewel tones. Like they're just going to look better in the summer palette. And that's kind of where the art comes into it, right? So we base it on these definite things, the warm and cool, the light and deep, the muted versus clear. But then we also look at the other side too, which is like, just, you know, thinking of them and thinking, you know, imagining those colors up against what they have as a whole. Hair, skin, and eyes all need to be taken into account. And I think that's part of what your original question with Color Me Beautiful. They did not take the hair into account most often. They would actually, the woman who did my colors put a white towel on my head and only looked at my eyes and skin. Now, hair color is a massive, you know, determiner for us. There's no way we'd ever even consider not taking it into account. But I think like your story where you said like a makeup artist told you were warm, well, you do have some warm elements, you know, and so she was probably focused on those. But if you're not taking the hair into account, it's a whole different story. So
Right. That's that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
You just reminded me of a question that I know came through about colors and so for a sunlit summer, can I get away with deeper jewel tones in December, January? A couple women were asking about that, like with changes in seasons. Like if your colors are like mine, very light and muted and pastels, and you're used to, you know, in the holiday time or in the winter wearing those like traditional holiday colors, which I've never really bought into the whole, like, I was like, you can wear any color you want any year. There's no like summer, but traditionally there are certain colors that you associate with fall. So
Yeah.
autumn color, and with winter, you know, the jewel tones and the emeralds,
Yeah.
you know,
So
you
that's
could
a great question.
I guess you could accent things with those colors, but you're still not going to want those colors close to your face necessarily.
No, but you're not. But here's what I notice happens with people. I've talked to so many women who do this. They look at the sunlit summer, you know, here's the sunlit summer color card, for example. They look at the color card and they sort of see that overall it's lighter colors and pastels. But there are deeper colors on the card, right? You've got deep wine, you've got like sort of a deep mauve, you've got a deep mulberry, you've got navy, you've got the charcoal gray, you've got like a deep purple there, you know, there are deep colors on this card. You've got cranberry. And so I would just say, like, don't forget to every once in a while look at your card with fresh eyes, because you can get it in your head that like, oh, I'm a summer, I just wear the pastels, but that's not all that you wear. You know, you've got deeper colors here too, especially the cranberry is like really great for Christmas.
Right.
You know,
There's a deep green here.
there's a deep green, there are deep blues. You've got deep versions of the cool colors. And really the only thing, you know, you don't sort of have a version of that you can wear is orange and brown. And you've even got that khaki that kind of, you know, it's hinting towards brown, right? But
coral? What about coral, or like what I call like
yeah.
pinky coral? If there's pinky corals, can be
So
good, right?
there's a pinky peach on the card, which is the second on the top row.
Okay.
Now that is as close to coral as I would want a summer to get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
like a
That's
true
good to know.
coral is really more of a spring and autumn color.
Okay.
The more muted version for the autumns, the brighter version for the springs. It's just you're just better in the pinks because of the coolness, the cool element.
Okay.
So I would say no, like the coral, it's I wouldn't recommend it
Okay.
for
That's,
summers,
I
like a
like that. I
true
like that
coral. Yeah,
firm answer. I like that.
yeah,
Now about the card. So
yeah,
there's four seasons, there's the four seasons.
yes,
And within each season, there are three subcategories. But
yes,
every season gets the same card, but can you explain how that works? How the cards
yes.
within the
Yeah.
category?
So the idea is the summer card, for example, just because it's the one I'm holding, summer is the palette. And so everybody who wears the summer palette looks best in colors that are, cool, light, and muted. Everybody who wears that. Now, here's the thing, a sunlit summer can look very different from a calm summer, can look very different from a moonlit summer. They can look drastically different. You'd be surprised the range we see in terms of, people kind of think like, oh, like a different summer is going to look just like me, but not true, not true. There's so much variation in people's coloring. And so the idea behind these call out colors that are the colors that are written on the circles, there are 5 of them.
Okay.
Those are very specific to the type. And so, for example, like when we see a sunlit summer, we see certain coloring patterns over and over and over again. And so those specific colors with the names on them are really geared towards those specific coloring patterns that we see on a sunlit summer. And those highlighted colors with the words on them are not the same for a calm summer. They're not the same for a moonlit summer because we're gearing those, colors to their coloring patterns.
Okay.
So the easier way to think of it is think of summer as the palette type and think of, sunlit as your type, how you fall into the summer category, basically.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That's very clear. Thank you.
sure.
Let's see. That just answers that question. That answered that question. Okay, how about this is actually the last question. What about olive skin? I've heard such conflicting information. Some people say that olives have blue undertones with yellow overtones, so are always cool. Others say that an olive can be warm or cool. What is your view?
I've seen olives be warm or cool.
You have.
Yeah. In terms of overall coloring, yes, I've seen people with olive skin tone be warm or cool. Traditionally, they would be more considered warm. But I've seen definitely, we have people with olive skin tone fall into the winter category often, where, yeah, they're just going to look better in the jewel tones. But the thing is, the key for us is always taking all 3 things into account, right? Hair, skin, and eye color, right? Obviously, if everybody has all warm, everything is warm, it's not going to be somebody who falls into the winters.
Right.
But so often people are a combination, and that skin tone can go either way. But that being said, any skin tone can go either way, depending on how it works with the hair and eye color. So I think it's just taking all 3 elements into account is really, really important. And it's a really important part of kind of our process in keeping people in the color palette that's really going to be best for them.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that answers all the questions, unless you had anything else you
Amazing.
wanted to share. What's strange, though, is I don't have any questions live, which has me a little concerned. But the good
Yeah.
news is it says I'm here live. I'm just worried that it's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
No matter what, I will be able to, if nothing else, I'll be able to share the recording with everyone. But I hope I
Totally.
did it right. Let's just say a prayer.
If you didn't, we can do it again. I'd be happy to come back.
So good. This was so informative. And
I'm so
good.
glad. It was a pleasure.
I really appreciate your time. And I'm going to have you back in the summer if you'll come back. To the summer group.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Great. That'll be great.
Okay.
And I'll have my technology worked out.
No
I'm really
worries.
concerned about what happened here.
Oh, I'm the exact same way with technology. So trust me, I understand.
That's why I'm not an engineer.
Yes, exactly.
Or a doctor.
That's right.
It's not life and death stuff, thank goodness. But
Yeah.
anyway, Jeannie, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much.
And I'm so glad that the internet connected us.
Me
That
too.
Mr. Google connected us.
Yes, I love it.
All right. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.